Welcome to Sew and Tell, where sewists from fashion, theater, and indie sewing bring their different perspectives to the hottest trends in the sewing community. I'm Meg Healy.
I'm Kate Zaynard.
And I'm Amanda Carestio.
Today on the podcast, we're talking about our stashes, and we'll help each other figure out the right way to use some of the fabrics we're holding on to. We'll each share a little something in our SewJo segment, then we'll ask you to share something too. But before we get started, how's everyone doing? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good because I made stretch velvet culottes.
Oh, yes. I saw them on Instagram. They're so cute.
I saw those. I loved them. You were like, these are going to be my house pants. And I'm like, oh, come on. They're more than that. Then you did like a style photo. And I was like, yes, like they're so cute. I love them.
They are pink and shiny. And I don't even know who I am anymore. My daughter
Amanda
loves them.
I bet she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to make a little mini version for her.
Probably.
So
I'll probably be roped into that.
With your stash. No.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have any left over?
I do have a little bit. So, maybe. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. We'll see.
Yeah.
How about you, Meg?
Well, my weekend was great. My parents came down to visit me from Toronto. To Toronto from London, where I grew up. So we had a little just kind of fun weekend talking about more wedding stuff. And I just want to say thank you, everyone, for letting me just blab on about my wedding. I will not talk about it again. I've talked everyone's ear off about it, and thank you for indulging me in talking about it last week.
Oh, I think you could talk about
You're
it a little more.
You're going to have to talk about it again. We want updates. We want outcomes. We want pictures of
my mom wants an invitation.
Chairs. Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah.
This sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, during their drive, my dad's like, we listened to that episode on the way up, and they were laughing. It was, so... Yeah, it was nice.
Awesome.
How was your weekend, Kate?
It was good. My birthday was last weekend, actually. Well, not last week. And so thank you. So I had my birthday party on Saturday, and we had some good food. My mom made grilled cheese sandwiches to order. And so we had fancy cheeses and fancy breads, and it was fantastic. And
yum.
Fancy cheeses.
Then I got a fancy new cutting board from DIY Style, the one that has the magnet in the middle and the cork on the back so that you can use it in all sorts of different ways. So I'm really excited.
Oh, you're old when you're like, yes, cutting board, birthday present.
Woo! Wait, no, you're a sewist.
Yes.
Right? Not old.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a kitchen one. Never mind. I was really excited about that. Also, if you did get one, because I love a good cutting board. Okay, never mind.
No, I was talking about my sewing cutting mat.
Oh, okay. Just never mind me, guys. Never mind me.
No worries. Just got called old.
I mean, there's that part too.
There's the other.
We're getting there.
It's all right.
Getting there.
It's all right. I'm going to survive. All right. Moving on. Okay, I am sure you guys have seen the memes about hiding fabric from your husbands, right? And all of the kind of stash guilt that is kind of intrinsic in those memes, particularly in sewing and quilting. There is this stigma around buying fabric, particularly when you already have a good amount at home. And I think even the word stash itself kind of implies something that should be secretive and hiding it
away. Exactly. And Abby Glassenberg actually pointed this out in a recent issue of Sew News, that, we should think about that term when we think about our fabric collections. So I kind of wanted to dig in a little deeper there and talk through it with you guys, what your experience is with the stigma, if there's any guilt associated with your fabric buying habits. So let's jump in. And how much stash do you guys have? I'm curious.
I need you to define what you're calling a stash for me.
I think it's just... I'd say fabric collection. So I think that includes things that you may have had for 6 months plus, but also kind of recent purchases and maybe how much you have and kind of how you work through it.
So what I'm actually trying to get to here is whether you count leftover scraps as part of your fabric stash.
I don't think so.
Okay. Mm-hmm. In that case, my stash is actually quite small. I usually buy fabric when I know what I'm going to do with it. So I buy it with specific purposes in mind, with a few exceptions, which are sitting here on the table in front of me.
and maybe a couple other pieces. But generally, if I buy it, it's because I know what I'm going to do with it. And so even if I haven't touched it for 2 years, and I can think of some fabric in that category in my life, I still know what I'm going to do with it when I get around to it. So usually my stash is small.
Okay.
That's my answer.
How about you, Meg?
Well, I took a picture of my stash that I can post, but it's basically 3 huge lime green Tupperwares. You can probably see them behind me in the screen here, but and they're divided by, I have a fuzzies, so I get lots of fabric. I love Shannon Fabrics, all her faux furs, and I love all that. So, and then they take up bulk. So I have my fuzzy bin, I have my knit bin, I have my woven bin, and then I have a bin on top that's like half sewn projects, which I kind of find as my stash sometimes too, because if I just cut into them or whatever. But yeah, there's no hiding mine because we have no walls in our loft. So yeah, Julian luckily doesn't come into my studio very often, so he doesn't really say anything. But I'm with kind of Kate. I rarely buy fabric not knowing what I'm going to do with it. It's all leftovers of projects, and it's just like it's kind of large scraps, because when I'm buying fabric for, sewing samples for, work projects and step outs, I can have like lots of yardage. Oh my gosh, yardage left. So a large yardage. New word, my lardage. Okay.
We'll add that to the running
Is that a
tally
sewing fun, guys?
Yeah,
yes,
it's
got
a thing.
one.
Officially.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about my stash. I do like buying new fabric though. It's kind of fun, but it usually does have a purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely, I do the same thing. I have a purpose in mind when I buy it, but I think because I buy a good bit of fabric online, sometimes it comes and it's not quite right for what I had it in mind for.
So you just put it to the stash.
So, and then sometimes it comes and I start to think about, the other things that I could do with it, and a little time passes and I think of a new plan. And then like a year and a half later, I come back around and make the thing I was originally planning on making every time. But so I don't have too much fabric, but I do. It's very dangerous because I have my own room, which I feel like can.
That's so nice.
You can shut the door.
Tempting.
It's tempting to fill it up with, fabric. But I have a small bookshelf, which kind of has my things organized by knits, by kind of slinkier fabrics, and then wovens. And then I also have a small dresser with 2 drawers filled with quilting cottons for when I was doing a little bit more quilting. And I don't even count that. So let's just go with bookshelf. It's not too much. And I have some things in there that I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with. And I also have things that are kind of like for my next season. Like I kind of go seasonally and pull a couple pieces that I know I want to work with sooner rather than later, and organize myself that way. And in terms of buying habits, I will occasionally buy something and not have a plan, but most of the time it's really planned out. I do a lot. My birthday is in June, so I get fabric for my birthday and I get fabric for Christmas. So like every 6 months I'll get like a little batch of fabric, and that's kind of how I do it. And I try not to do too much in between. But definitely get distracted and occasionally do the following, and I wanted to ask you guys if you do it as well. Do you ever buy fabric to make yourself feel better?
I don't think I do, unless I've planned out a project to make myself feel better. But and that happens sometimes, perhaps when I'm like, I just want to make something because then that is going to make me feel better about my life right now. So I will buy fabric for that purpose, but I don't usually buy fabric just because buying fabric makes me feel good. The sewing is what makes me feel good.
Yeah, I find if I want to make myself feel better, I always look to my stash first and then make something from that to make me feel better. I guess because I never ever buy fabric online, so it's harder to, if I'm like feeling down like in my studio, then I can just hop on the computer, buy fabric, and I don't think that would make me feel better because I like to go to the fabric store. to do that. But yeah, I like the just going in my stash as like I'm like shopping for fabric in my stash, because some of it can be hidden like at the bottom of my bins, and so I just dig in and then I'm like, oh, what's it? Like I completely forget about it, and then that makes me feel better. Like, oh, what can I do with that? What new patterns have come out? Because Berta comes out with so many new patterns a month, if I have nothing for it while I have it, I go, oh, what's come out since then? And sometimes it's just a perfect match, you know.
It's kind of like a surprise that you don't have to pay any money for.
Exactly.
Ooh, look what I have.
And
I
that,
didn't even realize
and
I
that
had this.
definitely makes me feel better.
Yeah, I know. I think sewing something from your stash, especially if it's like a surprise piece of fabric that you forgot you had, is kind of satisfying on a different level. You're like, I made this. I was super creative, and I was thrifty, and didn't spend any money, even though maybe you bought it a couple of years ago. I don't think I necessarily, ever have the thought, I need to pick me up today. I'm going to go buy fabric. But I will say I notice if a couple of weeks or months go by and I don't buy new fabric, I feel like I kind of miss it. And I don't think it's the fabric itself. I think it's the kind of excitement around that new, the new project and that new, possibility. So, and it is really strange because I mean, essentially I buy fabric to make clothes, and I do that more often than I think I ever actually buy clothes. But I think about it in a really different way. Like it's kind of my entertainment, kind of my, I don't know, investment in myself and my skills, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just going to elaborate lengths to justify it.
No, I don't think so at all. Because you buy clothes to wear them, but you buy fabric to make something, and then you get to wear it. So it adds all that extra element,
another level
of the all the fun you get from making it, and the satisfaction you get from doing a good job. And I think that there's a lot more to making something yourself than there is to just going and buying it.
Sure.
And unless
Agreed.
you just don't want to sew a pair of jeans, and then it's very gratifying to just go buy a pair of jeans. I
do that too, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, I bought 2 pairs of jeans a couple weekends ago, but I only justify it. They were super on clearance sale. Because I did plan to make some, and I was like, well, for $10 for a new pair of Levi's, I think I'll just buy these. Yeah.
Right.
Same here. Same here.
Yeah. And that also made me feel better.
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel ashamed after buying fabric? I'm guessing not. If you are buying it with a plan and you plan to use it pretty quickly, there's that. And does your stack of fabric, kind of waiting for you to sew it, ever make you feel guilty?
Not generally. Sometimes if things have really been waiting in the queue for a long time, I'll start to feel a little like I really need to start getting to that. But there's this other thing that's shinier and newer. And
exactly.
So that happens occasionally. But I don't know that I feel ashamed ever. More just like, procrastination. Oh, well, here's another project.
Yeah, I mean, not ashamed, but, just those little, twinges of guilt, especially if you're like, ooh, maybe I should get new fabric for this new project. Does it ever cause you to pause and be like, well, I have a lot waiting for me already? No?
Yeah, I know that definitely happens to me if I feel, if I have a new project. I probably do have something in my stash that could work, but I'm just kind of, sick of looking through it. And sometimes I do feel guilty to the point where it's like closing a suitcase. There's so much fabric in my bin that I need to sit on it to close it and quickly put a heavier bin on top so it doesn't pop out, especially my fuzzy bin. Sometimes it's like, it literally explodes.
I don't understand why you don't just leave it open so Bunny can nest in there.
Oh, but Bunny has been becoming a little chewer. He's like chewed a hole in our couch, and we have a roll of fuzzy fabric and he's nibbled at it. So I don't want him to quite
Oh no, you definitely
chew
don't
through
want
it.
him eating your minky.
No, don't want that. So I know, but that would be so cute. Sometime, well, maybe one day on his birthday, I'll put him in the bin.
Put him in the bin and just let him roll around.
Oh yeah.
All right. On the other side too, have you ever felt that you needed to put yourself on a fabric buying ban? I will go ahead and say that I have. It happens every January because I get fabric for Christmas, and then I think, new year, new me. I'm not going to get any more fabric until I sew at least some of what I have, and then I swear those Facebook reminders pop up.
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
It's been exactly a year since I was like, oh, fabric store, you beat me this time, and gave up, before the end of January even. So I've tried several times. I don't know. I feel like buying fabric and that planning part is so much a part of my sewing practice that when I'm not doing at least a little bit of that, I kind of lose momentum. How about you guys?
I definitely have decided on occasion to stop buying fabric, but mostly it's because I've got a stack of fabric that I know what it's for. I've already bought it. It's in the right yardage. It's sitting there with the pattern, and I just need to sit down and cut it and actually sew it. And then that's when I usually am like, okay, no more new projects until I finish these 4 projects. And then I can start thinking about it again. So I don't usually go for a fabric specific ban. It's more like a nothing new until I've done the ones I've already planned ban. Slightly different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go, I don't really ban myself from fabric. I more put restrictions on it. So if the bin is full, if I can't get any more fabric in the bin, then I need to, sew it up before I can get new fabric. So I was trying to think of like a fun saying, like if there's room in the bin, fabric shopping for the win, something like.
I think you came up with a saying.
I think I came up with it. Yeah. So if there's room, I don't put myself on a fabric ban. But right now there's like I can't fit any more fabric, so I'm kind of on one right now. I can't really buy any more because I just don't have any room.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad problem. Like I think having space restrictions could be a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Because the alternative is scary. And I was wondering too, there are a couple of stash sewing challenges out there. I think there's one happening right now that is #MakeYourStash, and the focus is really kind of like group togetherness on Instagram. Everybody, sew with stuff that's 6 months old or older. And I think part of it is to kind of counteract that kind of new and shiny way that Instagram, exists for people. I mean, it's hard to go on there and see people buying new fabric and making new things all the time in the latest fabrics, and kind of a moment to pause and focus on what you already have. And have you guys taken part in any of those?
I haven't, no. I kind of am still just an Instagram novice, and I don't pay a lot of attention to stuff like that. So that is not yet something I've gotten into, but sounds like it could be useful.
I think it's useful.
Yeah, I love seeing those challenges. I definitely follow them, but I never really partake in them. For me, it can kind of be a stressor if I really commit to it, and I don't know. I'd rather just do it. I usually would do it on my own. Even before Instagram, I would always try and go to my stash before I go out fabric shopping. So I would always try and sew the stash before. But I do love watching those challenges and seeing what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I take part in them if they kind of time well with what I already had in mind, because I've already got a plan, and I'm not going to completely switch it around so I can do a challenge. But I really like the spirit of it.
For sure. Yeah. I feel like I need to make more space in my closet, though. I have so many clothes. I just went through them on the weekend, and it's insane how much even just clothes. Sometimes it's hard to even justify just making something if you don't even have a spare hanger. I had to go buy more hangers so many times just to, I actually had to buy a new garment rack just for to fit all my clothes.
Oh my gosh. I think that's another episode. Can we do that?
I know. I think we do.
Talk
I
through,
think that's a good idea.
What you do with your me-mates that you're not wearing as much anymore. And what about a stash organization app? There are a couple out there, and a couple that people have kind of retrofitted to work for fabric that weren't designed for fabric. Have you guys used any of those?
I haven't. I've thought about it a few times, but I just don't know that I have the time or the effort or the inspiration it would take to load everything in at the beginning, because like you buy some new fabric. Okay, so it's not that hard to snap a picture of it and put the info in. But when you're starting out and you're like, okay, so here's my sewing room full of scraps, because I have a lot of scraps. And, this all of this stuff I need to do. I'm just like, oh, no, I can't do it.
Yeah. I think, too, there are other ways to do it. Like, especially if you have to store your fabric in a place where you can't see all of it, I think the app is really handy. Or just snipping a swatch and putting it on a bulletin board or something like that. So you've kind of got a visual reminder. I think there's lots of different ways to do it that aren't, app-based.
I think actually that's a really good idea. I haven't even thought about using an app or anything, but even just clipping some swatches out of everything, because we live in such a loft building that leaks. I know I was telling you a horror story about last week. I wrote about it in my blog too, that the upstairs neighbor's dog had an accident, dripped on my new make, because the floorboard, we live in a building that was built in the 1800s, so it can kind of be a little, but so I need to keep all of my fabric hidden. But I love that idea of swatching it out and having it visual, because I think an app I would forget to, even half the apps on my own phone, I always forget that they're there. So that's actually a good idea. Thank you.
The one problem with that, though, is that then you never have a piece of surprise fabric you forgot you had.
Oh, I know, and then that's fun too.
Kind of fun.
Oh, that is a fun.
I've also seen people who make these amazing Excel spreadsheets, and they've got pieces, logged there, how much yardage they have, what they plan to make with it, and kind of like their expected timeline. And then when they use that and they've used, a certain percentage of their stash, that's when they're okay to buy more. Kind of a way to just kind of track it, and then a little reward for yourself when you do meet those goals. So I think, sewists are kind of ingenious and resourceful.
They are. They really are.
For sure.
I love it. Well, we haven't even got into, the scrappy portion of your stash, which is kind of a whole other
it's a whole other one.
Monster. I was going to maybe say monster to deal with, but I think maybe we'll talk through a couple of those ideas as we get into the next segment, when we look at ways to actually use your stash. Such a novel idea.
Okay, so you have a stash, but what do you do with it? Do you consider scraps part of your stash? I guess it depends how large is the scrap or how tiny is the project. Anyways, if you want to work on sewing your stash fabric, where do you start? Do you have like a go-to project or pattern that you have, larded? I used larded chicken. Oh my gosh. A yardage or something, you're like, you just have this pattern printed out ready. You just kind of whip up one of those and kind of used up that fabric. Do you have anything like that?
I do. I definitely go for like a simple garment, like a cropped tank top, something that, doesn't have a lot of fabric pieces or pattern pieces, or maybe the pattern pieces are pretty narrow and I know that I can kind of move them around. I have the Lubox top by Sew DIY is one that I make a lot because it's, front and back and bias binding for the neckline and you're done. So I think you can really kind of squeeze that out of your smaller scraps. And also button-ups, because especially because all those pieces are kind of smaller and independent, like the collar and the yoke on the back. And I just feel like you can kind of mix and match, maybe use some of your smaller scraps for that. So I feel like that's a really good one to have.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just daunting though. If you want, I'll make a button-up shirt with all that. I
know you have to be really motivated to use your scraps.
Yeah. I'll take that tank with the bias neck.
Exactly. But I have seen a lot of patchwork garments lately. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but a lot of people, and I think it is really kind of scrap based kind of inspiration there, but I am seeing a lot of patchwork dresses, a lot of patchwork tanks, a lot of patchwork tops that kind of, if the pattern didn't include paneling, people kind of like made their own fabric from their scraps, which I think is kind of, it's probably not a trend that's for everybody, but I feel like
I love that.
it's it does kind of make like kind of a high end looking piece sometimes, and definitely custom and definitely one of a kind. So I think that's a good opportunity. But I have looked at my stash a lot in preparation for this episode, and I swear I think the things that stay the longest in my stash are like slinky fabrics. I buy those. I fall in love instantly. I get them. I get some from the thrift store, and I don't have anything in mind to make with those. But I think maybe I'll make a T-shirt or a tank top or a patchwork thing. But they sit. So I need to sew through some of those.
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a real go-to pattern. If I have at least a yard and it's wide enough, I'll do a willow tank from Grainline Studio.
That's right. Yep.
And that one is also just a front and a back and some bias binding. So pretty easy. But other than that, I just kind of hold on to them and hope I think of some sort of brilliant idea to use those little scraps for, or the bigger scraps.
Yeah, so do you find yourselves usually making garments? I know probably you, Amanda, that's the case, but do you guys ever make any little DIY accessories, like a little purse or a little cosmetic bag or anything? Because those are really great for using up the stash.
You make a really good point there. And I was actually, I'm gonna get into my SewJo just a little bit early now, guys. I play role playing games with dice, and so I have this huge collection of dice, and so I have in many cases in the past made dice bags for my friends who also play, or for myself.
Right. Yeah.
And they're just cute little bags. And I have made them out of all sorts of fabrics. So the more I think about it, I think I've always done them from freshly purchased fabric that I got specifically for that reason. And I think I'm really going to have to start making some dice bags out of scraps because it's a really good size. I'm looking at something that I just need a piece that's maybe 8 inches by 8 inches or something like that for the particular pattern I use. And I should be doing more of that. I'm putting that on my list.
Yeah, you could have like that pattern template right by you when you're cutting out a project, and just kind of always just get it cut right then and there if you have that little extra bit. Yeah, there was a part I think a couple years ago, I was trying to get through, whittle down one of my bins, and I made a bunch of, Berta has this Charlie grocery bag pattern that folds into itself in a little pouch, and it's like it's like a little big, but not too small. And I made a bunch of those, and I use them all the time to go to the market and stuff. So that's a really good little bag pattern for using up some stuff.
Nice.
I love making bags from scraps, especially bottom weight scraps like jeans,
right? Like a pant fabric.
Exactly.
Totally. Yeah.
And I also use a lot of scraps for pocket linings and things like that.
That's a good idea too.
The other day I was wearing a shirt and I had used the same shirt for the pocket linings, and no one could see it, but I got secret bonus points for sure. But I did, and I think maybe like every 2 years or so, I go through my scrap bin and really try to be super honest with myself because, I will hold on to things, which has occasionally come in handy because I had something that it was like a top, and it was kind of something was coming apart. It might have been like an armband or a wristband on a sweatshirt, and I had saved some of that fabric in my scrap bin and was able to replace it. So I think occasionally that happens, but probably not as often as I think it will. And so about every 2 years I go through and just try to go through it and be honest and get rid of stuff, because I feel like that kind of stuff just takes over more than like your fresh cut new pieces of yardage. Yeah. The scraps are the thing that probably it's messy and you don't really know what you have.
They don't fold nice and just they're just like this little like bin that's like I don't know.
And then that's where all my guilt is, because I look at this piece and I'm like, I could do something with this. I don't know what, but I could do something. I can't just toss it in the trash, and then it ends up getting shoved in a corner and saved forever, and I never do anything with it. And that's where all my guilt is.
I think we're having scraps day. Like, it's not really about the stash; it's about the scraps.
Maybe the scraps are the guilt-inducing thing.
I think we just uncovered the scrap guilt.
The problem is we don't want to get rid of any fabric.
I know.
That's exactly what it boils down to.
This is fabric. It's valuable. It costs me money. I can't just throw it away.
I know, for the little pieces that are just but sometimes, totally, like a little bias strip for a little, just anything.
I obsessively save selvages because you can put them into you taught me
that when I was filming one day. Yeah,
just put them in your shoulder seams of your knit stuff, and it keeps them from stretching. Yeah. And I have more selvages saved than I will ever use for shoulder seams on knit stuff, but I still keep saving them because they have a use.
Yeah, well, my real issue is because I love sewing with spandex. I like making athletic wear and swimsuits. It's a spandex scrap that can be tiny, like the size of the palm of my hand. That's like half of a front bikini bottom. So I have so many little spandex scraps that are like tiny, but sometimes like little pieces for a sports bra, if you panel different spandex together, get really cool looks. And so I never throw away a spandex scrap for sure. So I'm a little bit more with wovens, but it's my spandex scraps that are really my pride and joy.
I know. At some point I tried to put in a rule for myself, like if it's under, this dimension, just let it go. But there's those fabrics that you love that are just so hard to let go. But I am, we have a project coming up in Sew News that is a little wall hanging mini quilt that's pieced, very simple piecing. And I have to say, I'm saving some scraps for that. So I don't know how you feel about quilting, Meg, or
yes, you
perhaps
do.
I do, but I'm okay with a little bit of quilting now and then. So I think I am. Yeah. That is part of my plan for this spring and summer. A couple of those projects.
Yeah. I have in my notes here. I have things that you could do, like basics, like tees and tanks, panels, little bags, and I was like, I guess you could make a quilt with that.
I think you should make the world's first spandex quilt.
Oh my gosh, that would be so much fun. Oh, I could even make you know what I could do? I could make a spandex quilt, but it's a fitted sheet. Do you know how fun that would be?
Yes, you could.
Because it's stretchy. It's good. It's hard to find a good fitted sheet that doesn't. I bet I could quilt it so it's like a party when I lift open my comforter, guys.
Exactly.
Oh, because I'm not just gonna make any old quilt. I need to make it
jazzy. Make it jazzy.
Spandex. Make it jazzy. Oh my gosh. That's my SewJo.
Exactly.
Well, I have said before that I kind of like the idea of quilting, but I don't like the actual practice of it. So
it sounds horrible.
So I continue to save. Things in case I ever decide I want to do some quilting. I've got a couple of quilt ideas in my head that will probably never actually happen. But I hold on to them and think, maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Yes.
Well, and I can always, since my mom quilts, if I need to, to get rid of some of my scraps, I can always just be like, "Hey, Mom, take my quilting cotton."
Yeah, you can always give away your scraps too if you know a quilter. I've done that before.
Quilters are very useful that way.
But then they look at my fabric, they're like, "What is this? What do you sew with?"
Why is everything lime green?
I know you'll see from what so we each have a fabric that we, or a couple fabrics that we brought from our stash that we're not sure what to do with, and we're going to help each other through that. But so maybe that's a good kickoff.
Let's jump in.
Yeah, let's
into
do
that.
It.
So who wants to go first? Because I was just saying mine is very strange. So if someone were to get a scrap of this for a quilt,
and just for everybody listening,
question my taste.
we're gonna take some photos of these fabrics and put them on the show notes page. Mm-hmm. And we are open to more suggestions.
Yes, definitely. Mm-hmm. I have the biggest stack, so why don't I go first? And we don't have to do all of mine. So I got this at Meg. Can you see this?
I can. How could I miss that pink paisley?
I know. So I got this at the American Sewing Guild. It is silk brocade with a white background and a kind of raspberry pink paisley print all over it. I loved it. I thought it was so beautiful, and it was silk, and I had just taken a class on sewing with silk, and it was not that expensive. So this is one of these things that I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. And now it has been almost 3 years, and I still don't know what I'm going to do with it. So help.
Don't hate me, but that screams like a really nice pillow to me.
Okay.
Because it's a nice, and you do a nice trim around it. I mean, that would be a lovely pillow. That's just my opinion.
I have 2 ideas. I was thinking like it's a shame to cut that into little bits.
Right.
So kind of making the most of that scale of print, maybe like a maxi skirt. Something with a little bit of drama.
Interesting.
Or
how
like
is it drapey? Is it thick?
it's pretty drapey.
Yeah, I think it's pretty drapey.
Okay. I was
Notably-
thinking like a heavy, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking like a brocade type of heavy.
It is-
okay, so it has drape to it. Okay.
Yeah, it's not like the drapiest ever, but it's sort of a midway hand. I'd say.
Okay.
The other thing to note, though, is that I've only got 1 1/3 of yards of it, but it is 82 inches wide.
So wide. I was going to say like a kimono style thing. I mean,
kimono could
I
be
think
cute,
you
too,
run
yeah.
the risk of it looking kind of bathrobe-y just because that paisley kind of has that vibe. But I think, you might as well. There's
Like a house robe.
Yeah.
A silky house robe
I would
be
wear
really
it
cute.
out. I would wear it out because I feel like it's kind of dramatic. There's no way you're going to end up with something that's not a little
Right.
dramatic.
It is definitely dramatic.
So you might as well go with it.
Well, I will think over those options, and I think
I still
that-
think it would make a really pretty pillow.
I think you're right.
Like a really like a spring pop of pink pillow. I think that would be sweet.
But then my cats would get all over it and snag it, and then I would be sad.
Those pets, eh? Why do we have pets, guys?
They're so cute.
They ruin all our fabric.
So cute. All right. So I will put a picture of that on our show notes page. And if you guys have any ideas, maybe we'll put them on Instagram too. And then if you guys have any ideas, then you can tell me if you think it should be a pillow or a kimono jacket or a maxi skirt or something else entirely.
Cool.
All right,
So
Amanda, why don't you show us one of yours?
Okay, I have 2. One is I have 3 yards of this rayon. It is kind of crepey. It is pretty
It
thin.
looks thin.
It's
yeah.
thin. But
very
I think
drapey.
I think because it's black, you could still get away with like 1 layer of something. But it's got this kind of like abstract print with white, gray, and kind of a goldish tint. And it's kind of a small scale print, which I think is why I was having trouble figuring out what to make with it. I think I got this to make some Emerson pants, but when it came, I bought it online. But when
It's a little thin for pants.
It's thin, and it's the fabric itself feels like it could stretch out really easily. So, but I really do. I like the print. I mean, it's totally me, black and white and taupe, So I had a couple ideas, but I wanted to hear you guys. Again, I think it's 3 yards, so I have enough for a dress.
I'm immediately thinking like a tunic, like a long top that you wear with like leggings. That's like immediately what I like, a nice draping tunic.
Oh, Amanda, you've got to make a
What?
caftan with that.
Oh, caftan.
Oh, that would be nice.
Right?
Yeah.
I was going to start going for the Nini culottes, and then I started thinking about that caftan we have in the upcoming Sew News. That's June, July, I think. And I'm thinking it might need to be a drapey caftan.
I like the caftan idea. I was definitely thinking dress, only because I think this is going to be really hard to make something structured with.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's so thin. But caftan,
caftan.
okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Nice.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys. So this is I bought this thinking that I would do one of my this is from a scrap, but a lardage of my my overlaid dress, and it's nude mesh with beads of pearls and pink and blue. It's like a corally nude mesh.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, Meg, you're not making this easy for us, are
I
you?
can see why you got stumped. You have a lot of
See,
it.
because I have a lot, like I was going to make the full dress in it, then I decided to just make the top, and so it was expensive. Like it was expensive, and I don't know what to do with it. Like, I don't know.
Man, it is so dressy. I feel like anything you make with that is going to be super dressy.
I
So
know.
pretty though.
I was thinking a bodysuit, like I don't know, with like a nude underneath. I don't know, or it could be like a maxi skirt with like a under skirt.
That's
layer.
what I
have
was
no
thinking.
idea.
Yeah, I was definitely
Really
thinking
okay,
skirt.
like
Yeah.
a skirt. Okay,
But
Yeah.
with even like pants underneath it might be kind of cute.
my
Oh, like your
gosh.
fancy pants.
yeah,
yeah,
did
your
with the
pattern
overlay.
play.
yeah, that's cute. Yeah, the only thing, the pearls, it's a little bit heavy. I don't know, but that would be a good idea. I did not know what to do with all of this. Yeah, you know what? Some sort of like pants or something. Or what if I did like a wide leg short, like a culotte, and then like shorter shorts that are underneath, like a 2-layer look that way.
That'd be so cute. I'm like, do you need another wedding outfit? Because I feel like that is so
You know what?
dressy.
You know what? There's the bachelorette party, and then there's my shower. I need outfits for. Maybe I should turn it into that.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even
Yeah,
think about
definitely.
that.
I feel like it's so kind of glorious that shorts is like not enough to show
I know,
it
but
off.
I know, but then I kind of also love that too.
Yeah, it's
like,
really
I don't know.
unexpected, I feel
True,
like.
true.
Yeah. Okay.
Whoa.
Well, I'd love your all suggestions too. I will put a picture up, but yeah, this one really because stumped me. I had some like green linen that I was going to pull out. Then I was like, oh, I know what I can do with this. It's, this
Linen's
corally
easy.
nude mesh is thought I'd stump you.
Well, I definitely felt stumped there for a
I
second.
was for a moment. But that is kind of a good, I like this plan though. I mean, I feel like you have fabrics in your stash you don't know what to do with. Ask your friends, ask other
Yeah,
people, kind of
exactly.
workshop it.
Yeah, this has definitely been helpful for me. Should we do some more, or are we done?
Let's do one more round.
One more round?
Okay. Okay.
All right. So I have this. I got this at Colorado Fabrics in the discount bin. It is a lace fabric. It is ombre. So on the selvages, it is a dark purple, and it fades to a very fuchsia pink on the inside.
Wow.
There's not too much of it, just over 2 yards. It's 54 inches wide, and I have this dress I love that's a lace overlay, and I'm like, I'm just going to recreate that dress, and now I'm not sure if that's really what I want to do. So, thoughts on what I can do with beautiful ombre lace?
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Overlay.
a lace overlay
Yeah.
dress. Yeah,
I feel like that'd be good
like
for
a nice
for summer,
shift
especially
dress.
with like the
Yeah.
tie-dye trend. It kind of it just has that, the I don't know, summery feel to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go.
All right.
With that,
Or, kimono overlay.
yeah,
That's always my answer, you guys. Just make a kimono.
I could totally see that though, doing because it's like really hot in the summer, so you want something kind of drapey, but you don't really want to wear anything with any body to it or anything that's actually going to keep you warm.
Oh, yeah.
So go with a lace kimono, and that will keep you cool and
Yeah, a little
drapey.
bit of coverage.
Yeah,
too.
a little bit of coverage, but all right, cool. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Nice.
I
Ooh.
have something that's been in my stash for a while. Guess what? It's black and white. And
nice.
It is, I think it's a jacquard. And it's got this.
Is it double-sided?
It's
You can use both?
double-sided. So
Love that.
The outside is black with little white geometric shapes, and the inside is white with little black geometric shapes. It's a little bit drapey, but not like super flowy.
Yeah, it's pretty stiff, I'd say.
Yeah, I feel like, dress probably out for this one. I've thought about a jacket. I've thought about pants. It's a little bit dressier of a fabric than I would normally sew with, and I think that's probably why I got a little bit stumped. So, any ideas, you guys?
If I were
Whatever you do, you have to do it in a panel where you like flip the fabric.
Exactly. I mean,
that's a must. Yeah.
Right, because it is so fun that it's the exact opposite.
I always love doing that. Yeah. I would say like a jacket. I think it would make a really cute little jacket.
I think so too. I have to say, if I were making something out of it, just based on the hand, I would totally do a gallery dress. But I'm kind of obsessed with gallery dresses.
Yeah, I thought about like a button-up because it is pretty lightweight. I mean, it's not flowy, but it is kind of lightweight.
You could do a shirt dress, but do the pockets and the collars all in the reverse.
So really
that
kind
would
of
be
play around
super,
with it.
super cute. Yeah, that would be really cute.
All right, and now it's time for our SewJo segment, our favorite segment, where we talk about what's giving us our SewJo, our sewing mojo. Amanda, you want to start us off?
Yes. I think finally, 6 months later, I'm in the sew frosting mode. It's really, I made those velvet pink stretch velvet culottes, and they kind of had me off and running in some different directions. I think honestly, I got bored because I'm totally, this part of the year is like pants, shirt, cardigan every day, and it's really I just get bored. So I think maybe this time of the year is when I tend to get a little bit more experimental. But I also I made pink velvet culottes, and next up I have cheetah print awesomeness. I'll just leave it at that.
Nice.
Cannot wait to see it. Wait, have I already seen it?
I think you've seen the fabric.
Okay.
You were with me when we bought it.
Oh, right. I knew it sounded familiar.
Yes. It's either going to be awesome or awful. Nothing in between.
It's going to be awesome.
What about you, Meg?
Yeah. Okay, so now I am really gearing towards, spring sewing. So I went fabric shopping last week, and I had kind of like a fail-ish thing with my mashup trench coat. I just wasn't in love with it. I was trying to use up my scraps, and I didn't quite have enough to double face some things, and I don't know. It just didn't turn out how I wanted it to. So I'm going to remake that trench coat I bought a bright yellow twill. So it's going to be a yellow trench coat. And then I'm making a 2-piece crop top and culottes out of this banana leaf print that has a slight yellow, middle of the flower. Yeah.
We'll put that on the show notes too. A picture.
Yeah.
It's so awesome.
And it has like specks of yellow. And it has me so excited. I cannot wait.
Where are you going to wear this?
Wherever.
Just brunch with the girls, I don't know.
I mean, I love it so much, but that's the question I would always have for myself. Like, I can make this, but where am I going to wear it? But you do brunch.
Yeah.
Brunch is a great option.
Well, luckily Toronto, if you go kind of Queen West area, everyone's all dressed up in the streets, which is, that's why I love living here. And you can just wear whatever you want and you feel good. So definitely, nice little brunch outfit, but I feel like I'll wear the yellow trench a lot too. And I'm just excited making something for the second time. I'm more confident, and it's okay that I don't. I was trying to convince myself. Sometimes I do.
I do that.
Oh, I love it, and I don't really. And so, there was a comment that kind of not called me out, but they said I don't love it. I was like, you know what? I don't either. Like, who am I trying to? I'm not going to fake that I love this. How it turned out, it was okay, but I don't know. So now I'm excited about it. And second time's a charm, especially for a trench coat. Now it'll go better. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I can't wait to see it.
It's going to be amazing. Yeah. I do that too.
Yeah.
I think after I make something, sometimes I'll talk myself into it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as I mentioned earlier, I make dice bags, and my godkids are just about to start their very first Dungeons and Dragons game with their parents. They're 6 and 9, and they're very excited. And they got dice for Sebastian got his for Christmas, and then Ivy got hers for her birthday. And so their parents suggested that they could use some dice bags to keep all their dice together. So my husband and I are plotting out these embroidered dice bags with one with a dragon and one with a unicorn, and they're going to be super cute, and I can't wait to do them. And I'm going to use my favorite pattern, which is Simplicity 9966. It's out of print, but you can get it printed on demand if you want to. But it's just a little purse with a drawstring, and it works perfectly. And I'm just super excited to share that with my godkids.
They're going to love that.
I think so.
I love it.
Oh, and parts of them are going to glow in the dark because I have some glow in the dark thread.
Yeah, actually, my brother plays Dungeons and Dragons. I should make him a little dice bag
With your
should.
scraps.
Yeah,
Should.
you might have to send me that pattern, or
Yeah,
like
I'll make
where
a
I
copy
can...
and send it to you.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I know his birthday just passed, but you always, because he's the best man at a wedding, so maybe I can give him a little best man gift.
That's
for your-
perfect.
and just Okay, awesome. Wow, I got so many ideas today. Wow.
I know. This has been a really inspiring episode for us. I hope it's been inspiring for you guys too. So now it's time for our Sew and Tell segment. Amanda had to step out real quick, so it'll just be Meg and me. Last week we asked you how much wedding DIY is too much wedding DIY.
I love this question.
I know.
I know.
It turns out our fans are very enthusiastic about their wedding DIY.
I know. I was really surprised and really happy about all the responses. I didn't feel so overwhelmed or alone in my decision to do everything. So I thank you everyone for, telling me your
Meg.
stories. Exactly. So I'll read our first comment here on Instagram from 500 Days. She said, I am big on DIY. I'm making my dress, doing the flowers, decorations, edible favors, possibly the cake, the sweet cart, the stationery, and probably more knowing me. I drew the line at bridesmaids' dresses as mine live too far away for fittings. Girl, the cake too? Oh my gosh.
That was intense.
I know. I loved that comment. I thought that was super fun. That's even more than what I'm doing. I wonder if you've had your wedding yet, please DM us and show us some pictures, and we would love to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I also have a comment from That's So Marissa, who said, I was huge on DIY for mine. Built all the tables, thrifted all the chairs, made all the decorations and thrifted them. I made all my bridesmaids dream catchers instead of flowers, and I hunted down 5 stormtrooper helmets to surprise my husband during our ceremony.
Oh my gosh.
Love that so much.
That is so much fun.
I know. She continues with a little advice for you, Meg. She says, just work hard because that day will go by so fast. Make sure to take lots of photos of your hard work. I still ooh and ah at the day I created.
Oh, that's such good advice. I know. I think we talked about that in the episode, that it does go by so fast, just to
Definitely
take it all in, take pictures. Oh, that reminds me of what we're doing for our wedding. A little tidbit is to create more, because we have a photographer, obviously, to capture the moments. But what we're doing is, so we created a hashtag, and we're encouraging everyone to use the hashtag, but we're having a best photo of the night contest, and we're giving away a couple $100 to the best photo or video of it. So it encourages people at the wedding to take pictures and video. So we want to help create kind of that. Those are always the most fun pictures too, like those little,
definitely,
Instagram ones. So we thought that actually it was Julian's idea. He came up with that, and I thought that was such a good idea.
Such a great plan. One of the designers here at F&W, Genevieve, had a hashtag for her wedding, and it was great because when we, who were not invited, knew that it was going on, we could look at the hashtag and we could see some of the stuff that was going on at her wedding, which was really cool for us. So it kind of opens the wedding up a bit to people who you can't quite fit in your tent in the parking lot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. My wedding hashtag, because I want you all to follow along, is just Meg and Julian, and I'll remind you closer to the day.
Oh yes, definitely.
September. Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
all right. Well, awesome. So for this week, our question is, following our theme, what's your favorite stash busting technique? Teach us how to get rid of some of those scraps, please, because we're always looking for new ways.
And if you have another idea for my nude mesh with pearl beads, please let me know too.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we'll put all those pictures up on our show notes page. Maybe we'll throw them on Instagram too, and just make some suggestions for us. We'd love to hear them.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Happy stitching.
Bye-bye.
For links to everything we talked about in this episode, go to our show notes page at sewdaily.com/sewandtell. If you want to get in touch with us, you can email us at sewandtellpodcast@fwmedia.com or visit us on Instagram at sewandtellpod. Answer the Sew and Tell question, tell us your SewJo, or just leave us some feedback. If you enjoyed our show, please subscribe on your podcasting platform of choice. And please leave us a review, ideally a good one, because that helps listeners like you find our podcast. And tell your sewing friends about us too. Thanks for listening, and happy stitching. Sew and Tell is a production of F&W Media Studios. It is produced by Meg Healy, Amanda Carestio, and me, Kate Zaynard. Our consulting producer is Ron Doyle, our audio engineer and editor is Kevin Mitchell, and our executive producer is Jared Mayer.